Hello and welcome to Investment Insight. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. Now let's break down what's happening in the markets today in a clear and simple way.
Sounds good.
So, AI is getting all the glory right now.
Okay.
We see the chatbots, the image generators, the self-driving features.
Oh, absolutely. It's everywhere.
Yeah, but behind the scenes, there's basically a single South Korean company that holds the keys to that entire revolution.
Yeah, they really do.
And according to recent analysis, they just quietly filed paperwork that could force U.S. tech giants to spend, tens of billions of dollars just to survive.
It's wild.
So today, we're taking a deep dive into SK hynix.
Yeah, and it is a massive financial move, one that is honestly flying under the radar for a lot of everyday investors, but
Right.
it really shouldn't be. This is a maneuver that could completely reshape the U.S. stock market. It's going to pour absolute rocket fuel on the ongoing AI infrastructure build-out.
Oh, for sure.
And, create major headaches for household tech names that are probably sitting in your retirement accounts right now.
Exactly. So let's ground this before we get into, the heavy corporate finance. We all know AI is everywhere, but AI needs a brain to process all those complex requests.
Right.
And a brain isn't just about processing power. It needs memory. Vast, unprecedented amounts of memory to just hold all the data it's constantly thinking about.
Yeah, the data demands are just staggering.
Right. So this deep dive is going to explore who actually builds and controls that memory, why they're suddenly, knocking on the door of the U.S. stock market, and how you can spot these massive shifts without needing a PhD in finance.
Perfect. So the foundational event here, based on the data, is a confidential filing with the SEC. It's a Form F-1.
Okay.
SK hynix has officially initiated the process to list its shares on the U.S. market by the second half of 2026.
Okay.
And they are looking to do this through an ADR, which is an American Depositary Receipt. The target right now is to issue about 2% to 3% in new shares to raise roughly $7 billion to $14.4 billion.
That is a lot of cash.
Yeah.
Let's quickly translate ADR for anyone new to the term.
Good idea.
Because if you're an everyday American investor, buying stock directly on the South Korean exchange is just a logistical nightmare.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge headache.
You've got currency exchange rates, foreign brokerage accounts, different time zones. So an ADR is essentially a financial bridge.
Exactly.
A U.S. bank buys the foreign shares, holds them in a vault, and then issues a receipt for those shares that trades right on the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ in regular U.S. dollars.
Right, it just makes buying SK hynix as easy as buying Apple or Ford.
Exactly.
It completely lowers the barrier to entry, It unlocks the deepest pool of investment capital on the planet, the American retail and institutional investor. But it's not just about access.
Right.
It's really about valuation.
Yeah, I look at this like a star baseball player who completely dominates, say, a regional league.
Okay, I like that.
They are hitting home runs every game. They have massive local support. Their team is doing great. But eventually, they decide they want to move to the U.S. major leagues.
Right.
They aren't doing it just to play. They are moving because the major leagues have the billion-dollar television rights, the deepest pockets, and they want to be compared directly to the absolute best in the world.
So they can get that massive contract they actually deserve.
Exactly. SK hynix is doing this to get a proper valuation. They want to stand shoulder to shoulder with U.S. tech stocks.
Yeah, and their leadership has been quite transparent about this. According to the data, the CEO explicitly called this an effort to get reevaluated in the U.S. market.
Makes sense.
Because they feel undervalued at home. But alongside the prestige of a U.S. valuation, they just simply need the cash.
Right, the 7 to 14 billion.
Exactly. That cash from the 2% to 3% slice is earmarked for a massive expansion of their AI memory production facilities.
That's good. Where are they building?
We are looking at a state-of-the-art packaging hub right here in Indiana.
Oh, wow. Indiana.
Yeah, alongside a massive new fabrication plant in Yongin, South Korea. And their long-term stated goal is to grow their net cash from the 12.7 trillion won they had in late 2025 to well over 100 trillion won.
Okay, wait. I have a question about that.
Sure.
Because if moving to major leagues is such a brilliant move and it's going to raise all this necessary cash, why did the existing investors in Korea throw a fit when this news broke? Because looking at the data, SK hynix's stock actually underperformed the broader Korean market, the KOSPI, on the day this leaked.
That's right.
And the KOSPI is basically their S&P 500. So the overall market was fine, but existing investors in SK hynix were grumpy. Why?
It comes down to a fundamental economic tension, share dilution. Let's
Yeah.
say you and your friends order a large pizza.
Yeah.
It's cut into 8 slices, and you each get a nice, substantial piece.
Sounds great.
But right as you sit down to eat, 2 more friends show up. Instead of ordering and waiting for a second pizza, you just cut that existing pizza into 10 or 12 slices to feed the new people.
So my slice just got smaller.
Exactly.
The pizza didn't get any bigger, but my physical share of it shrank.
That is share dilution in a nutshell. By issuing 2% to 3% in brand new shares to sell in the U.S. market, SK hynix is just cutting the corporate pizza into more slices.
Ah, I see.
So existing Korean investors are watching their piece of the pie, their voting power and their claim on future profits shrink. The market reaction proves they're weighing the excitement of a U.S. listing against the cost of printing new shares.
Right. But, I mean, you don't slice up your pizza and anger your friends unless you are incredibly hungry right now.
Exactly.
So why the massive rush for cash? Why not just fund these factories normally over time?
Well, because they're in the middle of the AI supercycle.
Ah,
Recent analysis shows the specific type of memory needed for AI, which is called HBM, or high bandwidth memory, is facing a massive supply shortage.
how massive.
Well, SK hynix's chairman recently warned that the shortage of the silicon wafers used to make these chips could last all the way until 2030.
Wait, 2030? That is an eternity in the tech world.
It really is.
So we should probably clarify how HBM differs from normal memory, because it explains that shortage.
Go for it.
Think of regular computer memory like a standard 2-lane road. It gets the job done for everyday traffic.
Right. Browsing the web, opening files.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But HBM is like a 50-lane superhighway. AI has to move massive amounts of data back and forth instantly. And right now, SK hynix essentially owns the biggest toll booths on that highway.
They absolutely do. They currently dominate with a 57% market share in HBM.
Over half the global market.
Yeah. But to maintain that lead, they have to spend capital aggressively. For example, the data shows SK hynix just placed a staggering $7.97 billion single order for EUV equipment from ASML.
Wait, really? Almost $8 billion purely on manufacturing equipment.
Yes.
That is insane. Just for context, EUV equipment, that's extreme ultraviolet lithography. These are not normal machines.
No, not at all.
It's mind-bending physics.
Yeah.
It's the only way to carve lines thinner than a virus onto the silicon to make the chips AI needs. So they need a lot of them.
They need a whole fleet of them, hence the huge receipt. But there's another reason for the rush, another catalyst.
Okay, what is it?
It goes beyond tech and straight into global politics.
Ah, right, the geopolitical reality.
Yeah. As we know, the current U.S. president is Trump, and his administration is heavily pressuring foreign companies to invest directly in the U.S.
Right.
The U.S. Commerce Secretary explicitly warned Korean and Taiwanese firms about higher tariffs on semiconductors and AI chips if they don't expand their U.S. production.
So synthesizing this impartially beyond just raising money, this U.S. listing and that Indiana factory investment,
Yeah,
they act as a geopolitical shield.
exactly.
SK hynix is aligning its capital and physical factories with current U.S. trade policies to protect its business.
It's a huge strategic maneuver. But here's the thing. When a massive player like SK hynix steps onto U.S. soil and plays by U.S. rules, it immediately turns the heat up on the companies already in the room.
The ripple effect.
Exactly. It pressures the giants.
Yeah. Let's talk about Micron. Because according to the data, Micron has historically been the only pure memory stock available to U.S. investors.
Right.
So they always got a special premium.
They did. But once SK hynix lists in the U.S., American investors can directly compare them.
Side by side.
Yeah. So Micron is already feeling the pressure to build faster. They actually raised their 2026 capital expenditure, their CapEx, to over $25 billion.
$25 billion, just to keep up.
Yeah.
And it's so ironic looking at the data. Micron had strong earnings recently, but their stock dropped 5%.
Because investors got spooked.
Exactly. They saw how much money Micron has to spend just to stay on that 50-lane highway.
It's terrifying for investors. And then you have to look at the global memory king, which is Samsung.
Right, Samsung. You think they'd be fine?
You would think. They are huge, but they only hold about 22% of the AI memory market, the HBM space.
Compared to SK hynix's 57%.
Right. So Samsung is facing immense capital market pressure. They have to prove to investors why they deserve premium pricing if they aren't leading in AI.
So how are they reacting?
Defensively, they are committing over 110 trillion won by 2026. They're frantically locking in 3 to 5 year contracts, and they're partnering with AMD.
Wow. It's exactly like a coffee shop war.
How do you mean?
Well, imagine the neighborhood's most popular coffee shop suddenly opens a massive, beautiful flagship store right across the street from two established cafes.
Okay.
Even if the old cafes are doing perfectly fine, they suddenly panic. They have to spend a fortune remodeling, buying expensive espresso machines, and signing long-term coffee bean contracts just to make sure they don't lose their best customers.
That is a perfect analogy. The new flagship forces everyone to empty their savings.
Right.
So to summarize all of this, SK Hynix's U.S. listing is far more than just a simple IPO. It is a loud signal to global investors. It shows that the AI memory industry requires astronomical amounts of cash, equipment, and strategic maneuvering. The competition has moved from simply building the best chips to a high-stakes battle for global capital.
Which is fascinating. And it leaves me with a final thought for you, listener, to ponder today.
Let's hear it.
If the biggest companies in the world are forced to spend tens of billions of dollars every single year just to stay in the AI memory race, what happens when the music stops?
Hmm.
Will this incredible demand last forever, or are we quietly building towards a massive oversupply in a few years? Keep an eye on those spending numbers. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button.